So let me ask you this. What truly makes you want to leap out of bed each morning? What really gives your life that sense of purpose? It's a big question, isn't it?
It really is.
And today, we're going to explore it through this fascinating Japanese concept, Ikigai.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as like a personal compass, something guiding you toward a life that feels truly meaningful.
Exactly. And we're diving into the ideas from the book Ikigai by Hector Garcia and Frances Morales, because it's not just about living longer, although that's part of it. It's about filling those years with, vitality and purpose, finding your Iki, your life, and your guy,
Yeah.
your reason, your worth.
Yeah, and the book kicks off with such a great example. Jiro Ono, the sushi master, still going strong in his 90s.
Just incredible.
Imagine that dedication. Clearly, that's what fuels him.
It really illustrates Ikigai perfectly. So in this deep dive, we'll unpack that core idea. We'll look at how it connects to meaning day to day, and maybe most importantly, some practical ways you might find your own Ikigai. And we'll definitely touch on that link between Ikigai and living a long time, especially in places like Okinawa, these blue zones.
Right, the blue zones.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into it. What exactly is Ikigai? What are its components?
Okay, so the book breaks it down into 4 areas. Picture like 4 overlapping circles.
Like a Venn diagram.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
So first circle, passion, what you really love doing.
Right.
Second, mission, what you feel the world needs.
Needs. Okay.
Third, profession, what you can actually get paid for.
The practical side.
And fourth, vocation, what you're just naturally good at, your skills.
Yeah.
And Ikigai, that's supposedly right there in the middle where all 4 of those connect.
That's a fantastic way to visualize it. So it's more than just passion. It's where passion meets talent, meets need, meets getting paid for it.
Pretty much that sweet spot.
And it's interesting, the idea that you might have more than one Ikigai, right? It's not just this single grand purpose, maybe.
That's a really good point. Yeah, the sources suggest you can find that sense of purpose in different areas of your life. Maybe someone loves gardening. That's their passion. They're good at it. That's vocation.
Okay.
They sell vegetables at the market, profession. And they're helping people eat healthier. That's the mission part. Boom, Ikigai.
That makes sense.
And, other cultures touch on this too, like the French raison d'être.
Your reason for being.
Exactly. Same fundamental idea of a core driver.
So it really boils down to that question the book asks, what makes you want to get up in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds simple, but when you actually sit with it, it's pretty deep.
It is. And it's a question with real weight, especially when you look at those blue zones you mentioned earlier.
Right.
These places where people live incredibly long, healthy lives. The book points to Okinawa specifically.
Highest longevity rates, I think.
Among the very highest, yes. And what researchers keep finding in these places is this strong sense of purpose. It's a common thread. In Okinawa, they often talk about it in terms of Ikigai.
So it's not just that they live long, but why? And purpose seems key.
It really seems to be. It likely impacts stress, engagement, just your overall approach to life, a positive cycle.
That's fascinating. So, okay, for someone listening right now, what's like a quick way to start thinking about this for themselves? Where do those circles overlap?
Yeah, a good first step is just grab a piece of paper, maybe.
Yeah.
And jot down answers to those 4 questions. What do you love? What does the world need? What are you good at? What could you get paid for?
Just brainstorm, no filter.
Exactly. Don't overthink it yet. Then just look at the lists, see where things connect, where you see overlaps appearing. That's the starting point.
Okay, that feels manageable. A good way to begin. Now, the book goes deeper, right? It talks about things like logotherapy, Viktor Frankl.
Yes, it does. Logotherapy, Frankl's idea, is basically that our main drive as humans is to find meaning. Life feels empty without it.
And logotherapy helps you find that meaning.
It's a therapeutic approach focused precisely on that, helping you uncover your unique purpose. And importantly, it recognizes that meaning isn't static. It can change as you grow, so it needs, ongoing reflection. It's discovered, not given to you.
Discovered, not given. I like that. And then there's Morita therapy. That sounds quite different.
It is, quite a contrast. Morita therapy is more about acceptance. Accepting your feelings, even the difficult ones, instead of trying to constantly control them.
How does that work?
It's often a gradual process. It might start with quiet rest, letting the mind settle down. Then you slowly re-engage with simple, mindful activities. Things like gardening, chopping wood, chores, even just focused breathing.
Repetitive tasks.
Right. The idea is to shift focus from changing feelings to taking purposeful action despite them. It helps declutter your thoughts and leads to self-awareness about what matters.
Interesting. Different paths to self-discovery then. Okay, so we've looked inward. What about outward? How does a whole culture embody this? Let's talk about the Okinawa way.
Ah, yes, the Okinawa way. The book outlines 5 kind of core principles they seem to live by for a long, vibrant life.
Okay, what are they?
First, try to avoid stress as much as possible.
Easier said than done.
Ah, true, but it's a focus. Second, actively cultivate positive, healthy habits. Third, really value friendship and community. Strong social ties. Fourth, live life at a steady pace, not rushing. And fifth, just nurture a general sense of optimism.
That steady pace and avoiding stress, that sounds like it would definitely help create space for that flow state we hear about.
Absolutely connects. And there's that lovely story in the book about Ogimi Village.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, Ogimi is famous for longevity. And the authors went to this joint birthday party for some of the oldest residents, like 99, 94, 89 years old.
Wow.
And the atmosphere was just joyous, singing, laughing community. They even played this low-impact game, and a 104-year-old woman apparently won.
A 104-year-old winning a game, that says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows the social bonds, the positive outlook, finding joy every day at any age. It brings it to life.
It really paints a picture. Okay, so you mentioned flow earlier, that feeling of being completely lost in something. How does that tie into Ikigai?
Well, think about those times, right? You're doing something, maybe painting, playing music, coding, whatever, and hours just vanish.
Totally. You look up and it's dark outside.
Exactly. You're totally focused, enjoying the process itself. The book says paying attention to when you feel like that gives you big clues about your Ikigai. That state was actually named flow by the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Oh, I heard that name.
Yeah, he described it as this optimal state.
Yeah.
Fully present, engaged, enjoying the moment.
So if you often hit that flow state doing a particular thing, that's a strong sign it's linked to your Ikigai.
That seems to be the idea, yes.
Yeah.
And Japanese culture really values flow. They distinguish between activities that really engage you, high-value ones, and those that don't. They actively seek out those flow states.
So how do we get more flow? The book says it's somewhere between being challenged and being bored.
Exactly right. Too hard, you get anxious. Too easy, you get bored. Flow is in that sweet spot. A practical tip is to maybe try increasing the challenge of something you enjoy just slightly, like maybe 4% harder, just enough to stretch yourself.
Just a little nudge. Okay. What else helps cultivate flow?
Well, setting clear, achievable goals for the day helps. Gives you direction.
Right.
Minimizing distractions is huge, obviously. Turn off the notifications.
Guilty.
We all are. Practicing mindfulness helps too, just being present. And the book really pushes back on multitasking.
Calls it a myth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Says it fragments attention. Better to focus on one thing at a time for real flow.
That makes sense. Now, the book also talks about takumi, these master artisans in Japan.
The takumi. Yes, they're presented as these incredible examples of Ikigai in action. People who've dedicated their whole lives to perfecting one single craft, finding deep meaning in that pursuit.
Like Jiro Ono again.
Exactly. Or Tatsuru Rai, the soba noodle master. Or Teishu Takamori with his makeup brushes. Incredible dedication. The point isn't necessarily fame, though. It's about finding your thing, focusing deeply without obsession. That's key, and finding fulfillment in mastery.
Focus without obsession. Okay. So this all seems connected. Ikigai, flow, purpose, and longevity. The book gets into the secrets of living longer, right? Mind, body, diet.
Absolutely. They're deeply intertwined. The Japanese perspective highlighted is about staying youthful by connecting mind and body. Enthusiasm, that joie de vivre, is central.
So the mind first. How does that impact aging?
The book stresses how powerful the mind is. Managing stress is critical. We know stress is bad for cells, sleep, blood pressure, you name it. But it's also about keeping the mind active and purposeful, learning new things, playing games, stepping outside your comfort zone, keeping it engaged.
And the body. What's the Okinawan approach there compared to, say, typical Western lifestyles?
Well, it contrasts our often sedentary culture with their emphasis on constant, gentle movement throughout the day.
Not necessarily hitting the gym hard.
Not necessarily, no. More like integrating movement naturally. Housework, gardening, taking walks, using stairs instead of elevators, and things like yoga or Tai Chi get mentioned too for that mind-body connection.
Okay.
And sleep. The book really emphasizes getting enough sleep, pushes back hard against that hustle culture idea of sacrificing sleep for work.
Yeah, research back that up now, doesn't it? Sleep is crucial for health and productivity.
Totally. And then there's diet, of course, a huge factor.
What's the lowdown on the Okinawan diet?
It's generally lower in calories, but packed with nutrients. Not much processed stuff, empty calories.
Hmm.
They practice that hara-hachi-bu eating until you're about 80% full.
Right, I've heard of that.
Some might do intermittent fasting too. But the main thing is lots of different foods daily, maybe 18 types. Huge focus on vegetables, especially things like purple sweet potatoes, legumes, low salt, low sugar, lots of antioxidants.
What kinds of foods specifically?
Things like miso, kelp, tofu, oily fish come up,
Hmm.
and drinks like green tea, jasmine tea, very whole foods based.
Sounds incredibly healthy. Okay, so living your Ikigai is great, but life throws curveballs. Resilience must be important.
Absolutely crucial.
Hmm.
How you handle setbacks is key. The book introduces a couple of really beautiful Japanese concepts here.
Okay.
First is wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi. Heard of it, but what exactly is it?
It's about finding beauty in imperfection, in things that are transient, incomplete, accepting the natural cycle of things. Think of kintsugi.
Oh, the pottery repaired with gold?
Exactly. Instead of hiding the cracks, they highlight them. Celebrating the object's history, its damage, its repair, it's seeing beauty in the flaws, accepting reality.
That's a profound way to look at challenges. What's the second concept?
Ichigo Ichigo.
Ichiki.
It translates roughly as one time, one meeting. It means that every moment, every encounter is unique and will never happen again exactly the same way.
So appreciate the present.
Precisely. Embrace this moment because it's fleeting. The book links it to using natural, sometimes fragile materials in Japanese art and architecture, a reminder of impermanence.
How does that build resilience?
It encourages appreciating what you have now, not dwelling on the past or excessively worrying about the future. The book also gives practical resilience tips.
Hmm.
Have backup plans. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Balance risk with caution. And actively cut out low-value things to focus your energy on what truly adds meaning.
Pruning the non-essential. Makes sense.
Thanks.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway from Ikigai?
I think it's about finding this incredible beauty in simplicity, in the ordinary.
Right.
By finding that rhythm, finding meaningful things to dedicate yourself to, you can have a life that's not just longer, but really, truly fulfilling.
And that idea of never really retiring, just continuing your Ikigai.
Yeah, that's a powerful contrast to Western ideas sometimes. Keeping that steady, energetic pace through life, not rushing towards some endpoint called retirement.
It really drives home that mind-body purpose connection, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You need to nurture the body, eat well, move, sleep, smile, connect with people so you can live out your Ikigai. They all support each other.
It's about connecting with others, nature, the present moment, finding harmony through gratitude.
Beautifully put.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is, instead of chasing some impossible idea of perfection, what amazing, unique beauty might you find by focusing on your own Ikigai and just embracing the perfectly imperfect journey?